Okay, so let's start our meeting. It's 11:04 p.m. I hope the whole participants are with us. My name is Piotr Zawada. I'm working with Marek Duda, which is just sitting behind me, and with Agnieszka Nędza, who is also with us. We'll have honor to guest you in our conference. At the beginning, I would like to remind you the details, important details of the presentation, the time of the presentation between 8 and 10 minutes. You have to put your, mute your microphone if you have a presentation. The same situation with camera, turn your camera off. And the questions during the presentation can be sent. Use the chat box if you want to ask some questions. At the end of the part A, I will transfer the voice to John, who will moderate the part of questions and answers at the end. John, it's stage for you, 5 minutes for you. The welcome speech. John is a project a senior lecturer of Cork University of Technology and is representing the leader of the project. John?
Okay, thanks very much, Peter. Good morning, everyone, and you're very welcome to our webinar this morning, the role of the individual firm in economic resilience. As Peter mentioned, I'm from the Cork Institute of Technology, and we're the lead partners of the Foundation Interreg Europe project. And the whole project, just for those of you who are joining us who might know much about the project already, the whole project was based on the premise of a particular large employer maybe reducing their economic activity or shedding jobs or closing down in a region, and building an action plan around what would happen if 1,000 to 5,000 jobs were lost overnight in our regions. So how do we deal with that sort of uncertainty? How do we become more resilient to that sort of action not happening? So that was the premise of the project. And then like the rest of Europe, I suppose everyone has been hit by the coronavirus, and that's had a huge impact economically. All of our countries have gone into lockdown at various different points, and there's been lots of job losses, lots of uncertainty, and we're building to try to get back out of that and while we fight the virus. So the project is really focused more on the sharing of knowledge across our partnership to ensure that we can help get people back working and utilize different programs and initiatives that are happening across our partner regions. So I just have a slide there with our partners on there for you to see. So we have Ireland, the UK, Finland, Lithuania, our Polish partners who are hosting us this morning for this webinar, and many thanks to Marek, Piotr and Agnieszka for all their hard work in getting this up and running today. We have partners with us from Hungary, from Italy, Spain and Austria, and further sort of technical support coming from in Spain as well. So all of these partner regions will be sharing good practices through their local stakeholders, and that's really what this Interreg Europe project is about, developing and sharing an action plan together that's based on the experiences of all of our different regions. So what are we doing successfully on an individual basis where we can learn from one another to help and support and drive economic development, drive regional development, and then drive development through the sharing of good practices across Europe to build and deliver resilience and make our regions that little bit more resilient. So I'm very much looking forward to the presentations from Pavel, Carol, Baltas, Anna Marie, Walter, Janine, Eladio, Leva and David, and thanks to Peter for who's guiding and moderating the session. So at this point, I'm just going to thank all of our presenters in advance, and I'm going to hand over now to our first presenter from Poland. So many thanks, and I look forward to all of the presentations.
Thank you very much, John, for your welcome speech. Excellent. The first speaker is Paweł Tetela, who is representing the Borg-Warner company. Paweł is taking the general manager position in this automotive company. Paweł prepared for us the presentation named Actions to Increase Economic Resilience on the basis of an example of an automotive industry company. For all of you, we would like to inform you officially that we start in Poland. We have in Poland the second turn of coronavirus. In April, we have 100 examples. Right now, every day, we are recognizing over 2,000 examples of people with positive results of test coronavirus. Paweł, the stage is for you.
Okay, good dzień dobry, good morning, good afternoon, depending on the time. So shall I share my presentation by myself?
You can share the screen, yeah.
Okay, so you can see, I hope you can see my presentation. So it's going on.
Yes,
so
we have
limited time, so I understand. So let me shortly introduce myself. Paweł Tetela, General Manager for BorgWarner Rzeszów. So automotive industry producing the components for OEMs and aftermarket. We are in Rzeszów area in Poland, southeast of Poland since 2010. I had the pleasure to run these operations from Greenfield till now. So just to go to the topic. So everybody was, I think all of us have been surprised by coronavirus, and we have been unexpected what's happened actually. And it turned to us as a production and as well to our customers, suppliers in certain time, and we have to really react very fast. And it was unknown what to do, and it was unknown for how long it will take and what we have to do. So actually our plan changed over time. So every day or every week we change our plan to withstand, because we knew that it will have the huge impact on our benefits and economic situation. So first, what we have done, actually, it was not only on the plant level, but as well on the global and European level within BorgWarner to apply sanitary regime. So we learn over fly. So we learn what other countries done and what media give us. So what we start with, actually start to keep the distance. So as you can see on a few pictures, so we apply this in cafeteria, in our meetings. We as well inform our people in different areas and on the screen, send an emails, have this web meetings. So how should react? So provide as well them the information, what the coronavirus is, how they can impact us. You know what the first syndromes are. So change completely as well our behavior in the plant. So less movement, less meeting, keep the distance, reduction of as well interaction between the people, all went on the web. So that was the first what we applied in our plant. It was the first actually action we did. As we have seen that the coronavirus is not stopping, but it's spreading faster and more deeper. So as well, a lot of countries and government apply their rules. So we had to apply as well to withstand and go through this period. So the first action what we have done is the marching, temporary salary reduction. So it was supported as well by our Polish government. So we had the opportunity for all people which has been on the temporary salary reduction. So we have able to get some recovery from the government for the certain time. As well for the all salary, let's say direct operators on the line, we had the opportunity to get the payback partially the salary we had to pay them to keep them on hold for the period we had to stop our production. But it was not enough, and actually that we had to optimize because plant itself was there. We had to put some energy, keep the machining running. We have some processes where we cannot stop them at one day, and we cannot run them in one day, as like deep gluings, where we have the resin, which we have to keep the certain temperature, and to increase to go to the operation temperature. It's normally taking 2 days. As well to cool down, you have to control. So we had to start to optimize our production time. So run less shift, as I forgot to say, at that time, as everybody, we as well have been impacted by the orders cancellation or reduction. So we have to optimize our production because we did not stop our operation at all. So we had to run slowly and with the low volume. So we optimized our operation time so to be more efficient and beneficial. So keep the one shift or run one shift for 2 days and then cut the production for the rest 5-7 days. As well, the energy consumption. So as we try to optimize the work time, we have been able as well to optimize our energy consumption. So reduce the ventilation, reduce as well the temperature in the rooms, and as well reduce our highest energy consumption, the high pressure supply. As well as the third step was the external services reduction. So cleaning, legal support, all the external support has been reduced, and we were sorry to this external companies, but we struggle. We understand that they have to support as well with this difficult period. Then we have seen the May pass, the April pass, and we didn't see actually the volume increase. The countries had been still in lockdown, so we have to look on the further the action, what to do and how to behave in the next period to be able to really withstand this time and still hold and keep the operation after the coronavirus. So beginning middle of May, we took the decision that we have to reduce our headcounts and make the official the redundancy. So we lay off around out of our 690 people, 130 people have been laid off during this period. And we wait for what will be the next. And what's happened actually we are in the automotive business, and I'm expecting by first 2 weeks of July, our automotive market actually open again. We have seen that the production start the orders start to come to us. Supplier have been able to recall as well. So really, slowly, but we have been able to start our production, not on the level from the before the coronavirus, but the production was slowly running ahead. And during the June, July, the production was ongoing, and by end of July, our forecast and calls from our customers actually start to beat our forecast, which we had few weeks before we actually started the production. So we had to call our suppliers to recall their situation and ask them if they can deliver more parts. And the June-July situation completely changed automotive market, because we have seen that market is coming back. Really, the orders are there, and what we hear from the media, that all industry are still in the slow motion. They are struggling, but not what we see in automotive. So actually, starting the July, all people we lay off in May, end of May, we had to we hired them. So but actually by end of August, we rehire all people we lay off in May. And even so, all orders which are coming currently in September and for the Q4 are requiring that we have to hire more people than we forecast and we had before coronavirus. So actually the Q3 was, I can honestly say, that was the best quarter we ever had within BorgWarner, because having all regime or reduction in our business trip or external services allow us to reduce really the cost on the level where the increase the sales had a very well conversion. So what we see right now for the Q4, the volume are still going up, and that's the big question mark for the automotive business. What's going on and how the business will looks like in the beginning of the year, because actually we see this only the volume increase by Q4. We do not see this volume increase starting January. So it's only what we suspect, what we internally within BorgWarner are thinking, that a lot of people are worried to use the public transportation, but they still would like to transfer themselves between the work or the shops or different location. So they are switching to cars where they feel more comfortable, more safety. So we don't know what will happen. We are still running in the special regime and restricted mode. We do not open really our the reduce an economical situation. So we are still restricted in this area. But we see that the Q3 and Q4 is really opening the market. We don't know what will happen in January and what the coronavirus will bring us for the next year. That's all what I had to share with you. Saying to conclude this, that's looking on our friends nearby from the aircraft businesses. We are much better. We are in much better shape what they are right now, but we don't know what the time will bring us. Thank you.
Paweł, thank you very much for your perfect made presentation with a lot of details where automotive business is located right now in coronavirus activity. Paweł, I don't know you will have time to stay with us to the end of the part A. If not, I would like to thank you very much, because Paweł is managing the company with over 100 employers, so we have to be very elastic with the time. Paweł, thank you very much again. The second speaker is Carol O'Reilly. She is a representative of Ireland. Carol is regional program manager of the third level student entrepreneurship at Cork Institute of Technology. Carol prepared some presentation named Student Incorporate Supporting Students Entrepreneurs. Carol, the whole stage is for you.
Great, thank you very much. And I'd like to thank the Foundation for giving me the opportunity to present here. I suppose I'm at a totally different level to Paweł, because I'm talking about students who want to start a business, so not as big as what Paweł has spoken about. So my name is Carol O'Leary. I'm the Regional Programme Manager for the Student Inc. programme. And it covers the 3 academic institutions in the southwest region of Ireland. So between the 3 partners, we cover all of the students, which is about 32,000 students. So Cork Institute of Technology, which is where I'm based, along with John Hobbs, who spoke earlier, the Institute of Technology in Tralee, and also University College Cork. And I suppose the idea behind Student Inc. is to give students an opportunity to look at business ideas may have already started, and we help them to grow their business. And we don't expect all the students to continue on with their business on completion of the programme, but what they learn during the programme will make them entrepreneurial minded, so that even if they end up working for a multinational or an SME in the region, they'll be more entrepreneurial in their outlook, and maybe would be able to spot opportunities that might spark another startup further along down the road. So we have a number of key partners in the programme. So what is really important are the on-campus incubators. So in Cork Institute of Technology, we have the Rubicon Incubation Centre, and in the Tom Queen Centre then is based on the campus of Institute of Technology Tralee. And then our external partners are Enterprise Ireland and the local Enterprise Office, whose remit is to promote Indigenous companies in Ireland, as well as entrepreneurs in the region who might have come through one of the colleges, who might have come through one of the incubation centres, or one of the many programmes that are being run out of the incubation centres. And then funding all of this is the Higher Education Authority in Ireland, and we received our funding under an Innovation and Transformation Fund a couple of years ago. So what problem are we addressing? So I suppose Ireland, according to a recent GEM report, Ireland scored very poorly in terms of the number of people in the age bracket of 18 to 34 starting a business. So we were at 6.5%. Italy was the lowest at 6.2%. So we were pretty close to the bottom. And the average across the 22 EU countries was 9.2. So we were a long way off the average. The programme fits into a number of national and regional initiatives. So the National Strategy for Higher Education, the Southwest Regional Action Plan for Jobs, and a number of others. So what they get then on the programme is they get seed funding, which is key. They get 10 ECTS credits, which is voluntary. They don't have to do it, but over 50% of them sign up to get the credits. In the programme that we just ran in the summer of 2020, there was 45 training sessions and there was 150 mentoring sessions. And because of COVID, all of these had to be delivered online. So we had to pivot between March and June. We had to turn the whole programme on its head and deliver online. They get access to office space in the incubator. So again, COVID-19, we couldn't get in June, but for July and August, the students were able to access the incubation centres. And then they have access to myself and a number of other people who support the programme throughout the summer. I've mentioned the stakeholders already. Okay, so then in terms of resource needed, like this is with the programme fully functioning across 3 colleges with 30 students every summer. But just to say, we started on very little in CIT. So back in 2011, we only had 3 projects on the programme and we needed €15,000, and that went directly to pay the students a stipend or a seed fund to keep them in work for the summer. All the rest of the supports, the office space, the training, the mentoring, it was all given free gratis by people who run programs in the incubators and get paid for other programs. So people were very willing to give back when they heard it was for students and what they were helping out. So just in terms of where we are now with the external funding, it costs about €330,000 and that's for 30 students. So each student gets €4,000 over the summer. The payment is released on if they've met milestones. So we sit with them at the start and we agree what they're going to do for the summer. And if they achieve their milestones, they get a payment at the end of each of the 3 months. The costs also cover the programme coordinator and the other support staff. So we have a number of enterprise interns whose role it is to promote entrepreneurship to the students. And we have a significant training and mentoring budget. So then just in terms of our success, I suppose we got almost $1 million from the Higher Education Authority to run the programme for 3 years over the 3 colleges. So that's to support the 90 entrepreneurs. The whole programme enables students to test business ideas in a safe and supportive environment. In the academic year gone, 2019-2020, we had 3,500 students pitch 880 business ideas to us. There's been huge growth in the number of applications for the programme, so there's a lot of time spent on the promotion of the programme. Over 50% of the students have opted for the academic credit, and we also secured additional funding to put elements of the programme online. In terms of a timeline, so once the academic year starts, which is where we are now, we're between September and April, we're promoting the programme to students and running competitions to build awareness. The recruitment and selection process takes place in May, and then for June and August, they work full-time on the programme, getting training, mentoring and accessing the offices in the incubation centre, and it's a full-time commitment, so the students don't have a part-time job in McDonald's or anything else. Their job for the summer is to work and build their own business. Some potentials for learnings, so like CIT rolled it out to the other universities very quickly. This was our 2nd year doing it, so it's transferable to any 3rd level. The key is that there is an incubator on the campus and that there's good relationships between the academic and the incubator unit on the campus. It's a great model to show collaboration across academia. From the two infographics below, you can see that in both years so far, right across the 3 colleges, less than half of the participants were from a business background. So science and engineering students take part, and a lot of them will have little or no business teaching or experience before they come on the programme. There's as well, you can see there's no limits on the type of student or the level of student. So we've had first years up to PhD students participate on the programme. This year, and I think it's maybe as a result of the pandemic, we had a big switch towards the number of students in their final years. So maybe in 4th year, or those pursuing a level 9 or level 10 participating on the programme. 40% of the participants this year were from the latter stages of their studies. And not all plain sailing. It does take a lot of work to get the academic staff to buy in to this whole concept, and that they would link coursework with maybe coming up with a business idea or building that into their curriculum. I've mentioned already COVID-19 meant we had to pivot and put everything online. And a key thing is the access to the on-campus incubator to maximise the benefit for the students. So that's a whirlwind tour of the Studenting programme. I'll be available for questions at the end, or you can contact me directly. I'm sure these slides will be shared. Thank you.
Carol, thank you very much for excellent discipline. You control the time perfectly. The third speaker is representative of Hungary, Balázs Barta, director of Panam Business Network Association. He prepared the presentation named Way from Road Transport to Intermodal Center, the story of a local company in logistics. Balázs, Lengyel Magyar Kéttárs.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I'm sorry, I don't know any Polish sentence, but I appreciate yours. So basically what I'd like to speak about is that Pavel talked about a multinational, a large company, how they treat and handle resilience, and then Carol about how it happens in the universities. But I'd like to talk about how it looks in case of a family business and what it means resilience on that size. Just before going into the details of that, one slide about the background. We have basically 2 departments and Panam Business Network in Hungary. One of them is focused on advanced management, where we have realized so far over 75 European partnership projects with more than 450 partners, where we focus on business models and trainings. And we have an advanced technology part where we focus on digitalization technologies, varying from 3D scanning to 3D printing to sensor technologies and robotics, where we have an annual customer about 50 small and medium-sized businesses per year. So that's a background when we are located in Western Hungary. The company I'd like to talk about is called Galambos. That's the family company. You can see the site of the logistics company here. And I'd like to tell you a story about how they developed and what kind of challenges they faced and how they overcame that. Basically, if we look at the milestones of how the company was established and how it developed, it was established roughly 30 years ago. And I was just thinking when preparing this presentation that the father was the same age as myself at that time, and he established it 1 truck. And he had 2 sons. And the elder son joined the company 1 year later, and they agreed that Tamás the bigger will go into an office and make phone calls and get the shipments, and the father will make the delivery. 3 years later, so it took them 3 years to do it together. 3 years later, the other son joined, and he also started as a second driver. So that's it, three-person company after 4 years after the establishment. And what they decided in 2000 is that they will work there full-time, and in 2003 that the father will resign and give the company to the other 2. If you are familiar with family companies, it's always a challenge how succession will go on. So it was the first time of decision where they could prove that they are flexible to situations. And this was the time when they both decided that they will make reinvestment for the future. And it will have later a big importance that they decided not to take out the profit, but always reinvest it into the company. And 1.5 decades after the establishment of the company, they decided to buy a land where they wanted to buy their first building. So it sounds easy when we go through the dates, but when you think of 15 years of working together, for the first time they could buy a land, you can imagine how many commitment is needed from the owners to do the job. And then in 2007, they established different kind of companies. What they did with their investment. So as I said, their decision was that they will make a constant reinvestment of their funds. So they started in 2007, and it's very interesting when they started with the warehouse, because they had only trucks which have a flexible cover, and they wanted to avoid any theft out of the trucks. So that's why they built a place that it had fence and it had security, and it happened that other companies also needed this kind of service. So they started to build extra warehouse, and irrespective of the 2008 challenges. And then they built a third stage, and then they built another one, and they kept on building new pieces. And you can see that in 12 years of the development, when the two sons were working together, they ended up with 23,000 square meters of warehouse and 206 employees. So you can imagine that the two sons who took over, they finished the secondary school. They did not go to college or university because they wanted to do some tangible business. And those two guys, who are my age actually, they were manager of 206 people and 55 trucks. And everything seems perfect as long as the first big decisive contract was not broken by the multinational company they worked for. And just to give you an impression, they received that stop of the contract on the 23rd of December, and they had 10 days to stop all the operation, dismiss the people, and start something new. It was the time when it was so important that they always decided to reinvest the money they earned. So what was their reaction? They could have said that, okay, they try to sell the total property and lay off the employment. But they said that's not the reason why they worked for. And in the meantime, 2 of their children already started to work for the company as well. And they said they want to work for the future. So what they decided is that, okay, if we have shipment and we have warehousing as in the current portfolio, they want to move to something new. And that would be the multimodality, and move to rail cargo on top of the freight transport they did on roads. And this was identified as a potential unique selling proposition for them in the region in logistics. Just to give you a perspective, it's a 10 million euro investment. So imagine that you have 200 people, you have 23,000 square meters of warehouses, you have the biggest contract broken, and then you decide to go into a 10 million euro investment to go into diversification. So it tells a lot about their bravery, how to do this resilience. And it's also a very, very important aspect of being able to be flexible and adapting to changes. And the decision was that they cannot do it themselves. So they want to work together with the railroad company, they want to work together with the city, they want to have public funding, because 10 million euro they cannot manage themselves on their own. So it's a joint effort of the local community that we were also working together with them, saying that, okay, we have to secure the funding, because if they manage to do this shift, then it will give an extra value to the region to attract further capital for indirect investment, and new employers can come to the region. But on the other hand, because of the contract violation, most of the truck drivers had to be dismissed. What also was done is we did work together with the company, that we made market research. What kind of customers could be needed? What kind of services could be needed? What could be the pricing strategy to? And we were very proud that this year the first letter of intent was already signed with one of the largest multinational companies in the region, that if it's built, they will make use of the services of this multimodal application. and early next year it will be functional. What we learned out of this is that to be able to be permanently flexible, you need to have a reinvestment of your earnings as a family business. It's also very important to use the available resources. So we had railroads in the area which was not used properly, and it was identified as a potential way to move forward. It's also very important that when you have a multinational client in a region in Central and Eastern Europe, the decisions are not made locally. It's made in a headquarter. And even if you have a very good and strong contact with the local management, it does not mean that situation cannot change quickly. It's also important that the customer base for the logistics company was purely automotive. And to be dependent on one industry is a luxury. So as we say, you cannot have more than 25% from one industry and more than 20% from one customer. And it was a very big learning lesson for the future. And it was also a big learning for us that we have to be very flexible in setting up the policy instruments, the public instruments and the political supports. And we need to have short-term flexible task forces to support such shifts. So basically, that's the story I thought of sharing. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Balázs, thank you very much for your presentation. And next speaker is Anna-Mari Simonamieni from Finland, Research Director at University of Oulu. The Anna-Mari will present the presentation Micro-Entry Growth Network. Anna, it's your time.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Great to be here, and I'm happy to introduce our concept for Micro-Enter Growth Network. And I'm a research director of this Micro-Entrepreneurship Center of Excellence, Micro-Entre, which is part of University of Oulu, and we are also partners in this foundation project. And this particular concept that I was requested to present here, it's the one that was started or the first groups were started 5 years ago. So I think the planning was started 6 or 7 years ago, and it was actually the practical needs that we heard and noticed in the field of enterprises, that the small companies, very small, we are talking about micro enterprises, which means that companies with less than 10 employees, and even solo entrepreneurs or part-time entrepreneurs, which are also increasing trends. So these kind of entrepreneurs they were missing a platform where they could go and share their thoughts and get new ideas and encouragement to continue and start developing their businesses. Also maybe to find business partners and yeah, things like that, because those platforms and those business associations that existed sometimes maybe felt too high level activities for someone with very minor business activity ongoing. And University of Oulu noticed need, and together with our partners, and by partners I mean these kind of publicly funded business development agencies or public business advisory services. So university and these business advisory services together wrote a project application and applied funding to start this kind of peer network activity. First in a certain part of Finland, it's actually the pink arrow in the middle of the picture where we are located in Nivala, and that's where the first groups were started in 2015. And since then, these activities have been established in all these blue regions, as you can see on the map. So in 5 or 6 counties and 13 regions in northern and eastern Finland. And what this growth network then means in practice, I could say there are two levels or two phases. The first one that was started first, and it's always the basic activity for this concept, is this forming a local peer group. It should be geographically rather limited region so that organizing face-to-face meetings is possible. And we noticed that in practice, you need at least 30 companies to keep this activity ongoing with regular, normally monthly meetings. And you must have enough companies to ensure that there are also always participants in these meetings. And the local business advisory service is the one that is actually coordinating these meetings, organizing the schedules and booking facilities and thinking about the agenda together with the hosting company. And the university, we are the coordinating partner for the whole nationwide activity. So we give support for this business advisory services, who in turn do the practical development tasks with their client companies in these groups. And a company or entrepreneur actually can continue going in these local peer groups as long as they feel like doing that. It's natural that these participants, they change over time. Some come in, some of them hop off. But anyway, it doesn't have any particular endpoint. And after a while, we noticed that there would also be a need for particular team groups or training programs for those companies that are particularly interested in developing some business area, for instance, digitalization or internalization, for instance. And we already have 3 existing programs available that could be applied anywhere with ready-made program and tasks planned for each meeting, and also those individual tasks in between the meetings. And as a university, we are very committed to continue coordinating this activity, and all the time we are ready to accept and take in new regions and new areas who are willing to adapt this concept in their regions. And there are plenty of benefits both for the business developers, those experts that actually in their work help companies to grow, and naturally there are benefits for the micro companies directly. And currently we have started this activity through 6 separate launching projects. They are mainly being funded by the European Regional Development Funds, and each project has lasted from 2 to 3 years to actually not only to start the activity, but try to establish it in the region. And so far there have been a lot more than 300 micro companies that have participated in this activity. Some of them has then finished at some point, and all the time we or our partners in the regions do new recruitments to keep this activity ongoing. And of course we need to be sensible to what's going on in the environment, what kind of improvements and developments are needed to keep this activity ongoing and keep it accurate for the needs. And from the theoretical point of view, I could describe this network as a community of practice. We actually have even published on this topic, because these enterprises who attend a meeting, they have a shared domain and shared interest to developing their businesses, and they get support from each others. Also, this triple helix point of view is very crucial. It's important to have university as a partner who provides evidence-based understanding on the phenomenon micro-entrepreneurship. Then we need these business advisory services who are the kind of field workers and know their companies in their own region very well. And of course, we need those companies who actually want to attend this activity. And also the background for why we wanted to do this concept like it is based on the knowledge from different business contexts around the world. For instance, in the USA, companies are very good at commercializing their businesses, and that was something that our Finnish companies could learn from. On the other hand, in Asia and Southeast Asia, particularly networking is very natural part of forming businesses and developing them. And once again, we wanted to bring that kind of culture also to our Finnish companies. And then we know from before that the Finnish companies are quite good at competence development and productization. And by combining this activity combines all of these three basic requirements for good micro company development. Resources needed for this kind of activity, of course, there isn't upper limit. Like you know, you can use as much money as ever. But what we basically had was normally this 2 to 3 year long starting project, with total resources could be vary from 200 to 500,000 euros per project. Of course, these projects involved a lot of other activities, not only coordinating local groups, but this was the structure how it was normally started. And in each project, there were resources for both for the university and for these business advisory services. And after the projects have ended, so of course this activity to keep it going and keep it alive, it also demands resources, and University of Oulu is very committed to continue having a coordinator with allocated time resources for supporting business advisory services, and as well our partner organizations in each region should also have a possibility to allocate some time for their experts to continue coordination in that local group. What kind of evidence of success we have? I would say the most prominent success is those business development activities and those new partnerships that have been formed in these groups. And we are also proud that we have coordinated a joint forum, online forum for business developers, like cross-regional forum. And it seems that it really is needed. These developers are happy to participate in it, because often business development experts, they may feel a bit alone in their work as well. So it's good to provide them a forum where they can share their thoughts and for instance facilitation methods, how to keep these meetings interesting for the entrepreneurs. And we are also very proud at the Kerttu Saalasti Institute at the University of Oulu that we have received the national task from micro-entrepreneurship research and education from the Ministry of Culture and Education. And I think definitely this micro-entrepreneur network has had impacts on this decision, and it shows that it's highly respected in the whole country. And what we could learn from this, for instance, I think this kind of activity is very low threshold, low scale activity for all kind of entrepreneurs. suitable for those who are starting their businesses, or maybe if their businesses are in changes. Sorry. And it's a very modifiable concept that could be applied based on the particular situation in the region. So our partners were very turned. Can you hear me?
Yes, we hear you, but Anna, your time is going to be, yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
this is pretty much the end of the show, that it's very easy to adapt in any region, and with the resources that are available, either as a very small scale activity or as a more advanced and active format. But we are happy to tell you more about this. And also, of course, our publications could be read and inform more about this concept. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Anna, for your long and interesting presentation. The last speaker is a representative of Austria, the Walter Kohlbauer, taking the CEO and AGS engineering position in the company. The name of the presentation, the role of AGS engineering in time of crisis. Herr Walter, das ist deine 10 Minuten.
Danke.
Bitte.
Hello, everybody. This is Walter Kohlbauer speaking. Thanks for being in this community. I'm the founder and owner of AGS Engineering in Upper Austria. I founded this company in 2003 as a one-man company, up to now 50 employees. So what I wanted to talk about today is that is our situation during the COVID-19 crisis, and the understanding for me that special times also require special actions, and that companies therefore need to rethink. As you can see in this short video, we stand for high quality and years of experience in information technology, in automation and robotics and industrial data. And we are working hand in hand between robotics and human, and as well with our customers. We are a small company with building robot cells and automated machines and programming, and also assembling this by our customers and in the region and all over the world. So what were the problems for us during the COVID-19 crisis and the lockdown? At the beginning of the lockdown, we had to deal with cancellations and put on hold of orders, and also postponements of projects, especially of projects that were about to sign a contract in a nearly time. And so we have no incoming orders for almost around about 4 months. What was the consequences? Employers are underutilized or completely without employment during this time. All projects from our customers are postponed, and there was no possibility to assemble actual project by the customer. Not in the region, because all production companies were closed, and also not all over the world, because the borders are closed too. So during this time, we tried to share our employers with other companies, also competitors. The that were not affected by the crisis, for example, building or pharmacy or recycling industry. In this way, we were able to help other companies to bridge the bottleneck, and the jobs of own employers are still maintained. Who were the stakeholders? Yeah, at first for the external companies, they do not lose any orders or were also able to process their projects on time. For our company, we does not lose employers or had to fire them. You can imagine the return we generated with this method was even zero. But on the other hand, we had no loss either, and yeah, can hold our employers, and that counts for us in this time. And for our employers, I think it was very, very necessary for them. Their income was assured, and they do not lose their jobs at all. So, which resources were needed? Means in the activities and measures for the automation industry. We take long before the crisis. We had taken all the necessary steps to be able to apply work abroad and for other companies all over the world. So this was the good side on this this method. We have no additional operational costs in this time because our system was prepared, as I mentioned before, for working abroad and all over the world. Yeah, the evidence of success is obvious. Maintaining of jobs and economy. The employers got to know the working methods of other companies and were also able to incorporate the best of them in our company when it's still going on since 4 or 5 weeks ago. Split of working time between companies. We could share the employers when we need it and have a part-time for internal working when we have projects or little jobs internal to do. So we have at least a full capacity. External job creation, job security, and safe income increases also the loyalty of the employees. And we could see in this time that the cooperation between the companies is being promoted and is running on and is good for all companies. What we did with the employers, one employee in electrical planning, for example, worked 100% for an external company. This was also a competitor for over 20 weeks. An employee in electrical planning worked 80% for an external company around about 7 weeks, and 7 electricians. 4 of them were 100%, 3 of them were around about 30% on externally companies shared. And one employee also in process analyzing and financial controlling. He is still working now also 75% for another company in recycling industry. But one thing must not forget, that there is also a high risk here because employees can be recruited from other companies. And so 2 employees are switched to another company due the uncertainty of the situation. That's bad, but yeah, in this time, it is what it is. And now we are in a better situation. What is the potential of learning or transfer? The cooperation with other companies brings benefit for both companies or for all companies they are involved. As a manager, you have to invest in times of stability. That is one main thing I recognized in this time. And increase enforcing flexibility of employees, also from company owners or managers. What challenges we had in this time? Yeah, I think very essential is that is a rapid, immediately reaction when the crisis starts. Also, the communication to the employees is, in my opinion, very, very necessary all over the time, not once per month, once per day, once per week, once per day in the first time, once per week after 5-7 weeks. So the employees are not alone. And yeah, the success factor network of managers and company owners, managing directors should be created in advance. What's now in this time? Thanks God, projects are back. Since 4 weeks, we are at a full capacity till around about end of February. And I think we can finalize our fiscal year just above 0. And this is according the struggling in the second and third quarter of this year is this a very good final. Yeah, and now we are in the lucky situation that we can searching for new employees. For me, the crisis has shown that networking over years pays off and strengthens resilience of the own company. And as example, the picture on the left side shown me with my network, with one of my network partner, Christoph Schöndorfer is working on a huge company and in front of our company building. So thanks for your attention and stay all healthy. Thanks.
Walter, thank you very much for your presentation. Excellent job. Because the chat is not working, I don't know why, the questions was sent by email to John. If John is with us, John, could you inform us what kind of questions you've got?
Yeah, there's a couple of questions have come to me, but what I was going to suggest was if there were people here who had questions, you can use the raise your hand facility and I can come to you then and you can let one of the presenters know which questions you'd like to ask there. So if people have a question from our audience, because this is about connecting people with the presenters and the good practices we have, if you want to hit the raise your hand button, then we can pass over to you and you can unmute your microphone to ask your question. So if anyone has anything, you can ask them from there. There is a couple of questions that I've got from on email from our Polish partners, and one of those relates to Carol O'Leary from Cork. So one of the questions is, what do you think, or in which industries we should not start a business in the near future, or which particular sectors are entrepreneurs focusing on at present?
Okay, so I suppose I'm part of an incubator and we run a number of programs, and to be honest, I haven't seen any change in sectors, like sectors not starting up. So it's right across. We have medical devices, we have software companies, we have food companies. We've seen them. We haven't seen a rapid decline in any sector. So the main thing is that you can identify a problem that people want sorted, not a problem that you see, but a problem that potential customers see as a problem. So I wouldn't say there's any specific sector that you wouldn't start at the moment.
Perfect. I have heard from some of your colleagues previously that apps are bad. You need a little bit more with the apps, but no, that's a great answer. There's another question that's come in for Pavel. I wonder, is Pavel still here with us? Maybe he's not still here. There was a...
No, I am. Sorry.
Perfect. The question there is, I suppose, what are your thoughts on the OEM and the aftermarket part sales in the next years, or in the forthcoming years, or what do you see is going to happen there for the automotive sector?
That's what I said actually during my presentation. By end of this year, we see that there is a high volume, that is the demand on the market. But when we are asking actually our OEMs guys, they are uncertain. That's the volume they can confirm by end of this year. But future months, actually, today the forecast against the 2020 for the 2021 is around the 15% reduce. So that's what OEMs still confirm, that the volume they expect it will be 15% lower than 2020, and as well the overall forecast for the coming years over the 5 years period will be that we will be back to the 2019 volume by 2024.
Perfect. Thanks very much. There's another question coming to me on email for Walter, and it's about the network that was built and developed amongst the businesses. And were the exchanges organized on a casual basis through your own network, or was there another organization who was helping and supporting to build those networks so that you could start that sort of collaboration?
Yeah, the network is mainly built ourselves, but also helping other organizations like a member of this community, Business Up Austria. Okay. When you do some business organizations, or when you go to some events, speak with many responsible persons, speak with owners, speak with managers, help another in not commercial things and such more. That brings a good position for a crisis like this.
Okay, thanks very much. Carol, there's another question there for you that's just come in on email. So it's just about, I suppose, the forthcoming program for the next iteration. Is there going to be any priority placed on COVID-specific business ideas in the next iteration?
No, I suppose we have a fairly robust selection process. So the top 30 projects from the applications we'll get through. We won't be picking anything, specifically for COVID. Okay. So no.
Okay, perfect. There's another question I have there myself for Baltas. Just in terms, in your presentation, you were mentioning about the employees of the company that were there already and how there was a huge loss of market. So Baltas, are you there with us? Maybe you could switch on your camera, or can you hear me?
Walter is here, yeah? You mean me, Walter?
No, sorry,
from Apostra?
Baltas from PBN.
Okay, sorry.
Maybe he's not with us at the moment. Okay, so look, maybe we can come back to that question later. So I think in our program we have a coffee break now, but I think we might be better just to stick with time if we just move directly into part B. I know a lot of people are working from home at present, or in the office and might be able to nip out for a coffee, you know, for a couple of minutes. So maybe I suggest now that we move to part B, and if anyone who's with us online after we have our 4 presenters, there's the opportunity to raise your hand and we turn on your microphone then for you to ask the questions directly if you wish. Okay, so over to you, Peter, and we can move into part B of the program.
Thank you very much, John. To make some short summary, I would like to say that the Oscar goes to Paweł, Karol, Balázs, Anna, and Walter. Let's start the second part of the presentation. The representative of United Kingdom, Gianni, you are with us. Gianni Smith. She is the head of specialist service at the Growth Company. Gianni will present us the presentation named Stronger Together, how Greater Manchester business work together at the time of crisis. Gianna, the stage is for you.
Hi there, I'm just sharing my presentation now. Can people see that on their screens?
We can. You just need to hit the icon down the end just to make it to go full screen.
Yes, we see you.
You can. It's coming. It's showing on my screen as full. So can you see it as full on yours?
Not as of yet.
Just let me just bear with me 1 second. I'm just going to move it onto this screen.
Perfect.
There you go. Can you see that?
We can see the slides, but we can't see them in full screen yet.
You can't. I'll tell you what. I'll present, and then everybody's got access to the copies of the slides afterwards. Anyway, I'm just conscious of time. Good morning, everybody. I'm Janine Smith. I'm head of specialist services at the Business Growth Hub, which is part of the Growth Company. It's a not-for-profit organisation of 1,100 staff based in Greater Manchester. The Business Growth Hub supports businesses and individuals across Greater Manchester to enable growth, create jobs and improve lives, and very much focuses on the economical impact of SMEs to the region. Across Greater Manchester, there are 105,000 businesses and there are 185,000 self-employed. So we're accountable to the local authorities and we're funded through European, national and local funds. We're a stakeholder within this project and we work really closely with Oldham Council as well as the 9 other local authorities across Greater Manchester. So the focus of this presentation is very much around how businesses across Greater Manchester have come together, and one of the terms that we commonly use is Stronger Together. So the focus of this is around the major issue that Greater Manchester faced at the start of the pandemic around the supply of personal protective equipment, or PPE, into particularly the National Health Service and other public and private bodies who were dealing with the situation. Prior to the pandemic, PPE was largely produced internationally at a relatively low cost. So the demand for this soared, with suppliers not making it to the UK, and those that did came with hugely inflated costs, causing significant breakdowns in the supply chains, and then a national shortage of PPE, which made the daily headlines on TV in terms of doctors and nurses and care providers not having the relevant equipment. So there's a need for a huge coordinated effort of identifying organisations who are already producing PPE to increase their output, and also other organisations to pivot into producing PPE. So Manchester's Inward Investment Agency, MIDAS, and part of the Growth Company, along with support from its sister company, the Business Growth Hub, led a task force sourcing PPE for the NHS and other agencies such as the police, the fire department, the transport infrastructure and care sector, and those providing support to the most vulnerable in society. So the task force provided a strategic lead on supporting existing supply chains, identifying new supply chains, brokering new supplies of PPE into Greater Manchester, allocating any centrally sourced PPE across public agencies, and providing clarity of PPE requirements under advice from Public Health England. So understanding Greater Manchester's public services in terms of its current and projected shortfalls of PPE. So the main focus was to then work across Greater Manchester's large manufacturing base. We identified initially 200 businesses and proactively contacted them to understand their ability, their desire and their capacity to produce PPE, particularly those who had seen their production levels significantly fall due to the reduced demand. Over the project's delivery, this increased to speaking with over 600 businesses, and our advisory teams worked tirelessly with businesses to support them to adapt and develop their production lines. Businesses work collaboratively to form new supply chains, for example, hand sanitizer with bottling companies to ensure that we've got a finished product, and also businesses sharing scrubs and apron patterns between themselves. We also have 4 universities across Greater Manchester, and these supported with designing PPE patterns and sharing these on their websites for anybody to access, as well as sharing patterns around 3D printing for visors, which they also provided free into the NHS. This also supported many businesses with not having to furlough their staff or furloughing reduced numbers of staff. And this was a government initiative where the government paid somebody's salary to a business if they were not able to work during this period of time. We also had our Access to Finance team who also supported these manufacturing businesses to access the relevant loans, the government loans that were introduced during this time to support with their production and also their cash flow situations. So as a result of this, 141 businesses were supported to increase or change their business activities. We created a stock management database where all demand, orders, data and stock were input to give a real-time picture on Greater Manchester's PPE position. All this data was fed into the Mayor's Office communications team on a weekly basis for his press releases and also going into central government. A record of all suppliers was kept of prices, volumes and lead times, which was reviewed weekly with local government and the NHS when placing new orders. Orders during this time through this activity totalled over 19 million pieces that were produced over this 6-month period in Greater Manchester of PPE equipment and included over 8 million medical grade surgical masks, over 4 million protective gloves and over 5 million aprons and gowns, along with other equipment such as visors, shoe covers, hand sanitizers, wipes and goggles. So next I'd like to come on to a couple of case studies. I've chosen a couple, so people that know me, that I've met before, will know that gin sits very close to my heart. We've got a number of gin producers in Greater Manchester. It was a huge resurgence over the last few years. One of these is a company called Didsbury Gin, and the businesses, a number of gin producers switched to producing hand sanitizer during this time, using a formula that was based on the World Health Organization's formula, and it doesn't require any testing or approval to produce. So the main ingredient of this is obviously alcohol, so it made it an attractive option for the region's drinks manufacturers. So Didsbury Gin is an existing client of the Growth Hub, converted existing alcohol supplies into manufacturing hand sanitizer to donate to the local police, fire, health and social services. And in their first few weeks alone, they were able to manufacture the equivalent of over 2 million bottles of hand sanitizer. And in September just gone, they've donated 3,500 bottles of hand sanitizer to Transport for Greater Manchester, with a real remit of helping the tram, bus and rail network to support workers to get back into the workplace. The next example I've got is a company called Zymagorium, again a gym manufacturer who started to produce hand sanitizer, and their first batch was called the Zymatizer, and this was based on again the World Health Organization recipe. And they donated into the fire and rescue stations across each area across Greater Manchester, as well as producing this for women's centres and care homes across the northwest, and they also donated into the military. So I think this really sums up the altruistic support that has happened during this time. We've had many businesses who've faced crisis, but also we've had the huge health issue as well, with many deaths, and Greater Manchester has probably been the hardest hit for COVID across the country. So I think this really sums up the collaborative nature of businesses across Greater Manchester and those who have wanted to give back to their communities, with many providing, outside of the PPE initiative, providing professional advice such as HR and accountancy support, and have done this on a free basis to businesses. So thank you very much for everybody's time on this. Sorry I couldn't share properly on this, but the slides will be available to everybody to access following this. Thank you.
Okay, Jenny, thank you very much. It was nice to hear an excellent Manchester accent, clean, perfect, beautiful. Right now we understand how much time we have to spend to brush up our pronunciation to talk like you. The next speaker is the representative of Spain, General Manager of Mecánicas Balá Group, Senor Eduardo Valcarel Sanchez. Senor Eladio prepared a presentation named The History of Mecánicas Balá Increasing Industrial Resilience, the generation of mechanics and naval and static engines. Senor Eladio.
Yeah, hello. Good morning, good afternoon to everybody. Thank you very much to give us the opportunity to make the presentation based on our experience. I will put the presentation. I don't know if I can manage the screen. Let me see. No, I need to give. I am trying
Share the screen.
Can you see my presentation? Sorry, can you see the presentation?
Everything is okay. Just please continue.
Okay, so our experience was based in a lack of people who had the expertise to provide some kind of work in the area where we are installed in the Cartagena. So the main problem that we have is to find such kind of people that can provide in the future new opportunities in the market. So the main target that we put in this experience is to train the people and to have the opportunity to train for select the best employees in the future for a company and to provide some opportunities to other companies. So these are the main two objectives that we have. Okay. So I don't know, this can manage very well the screen. Okay, now. So the main two objectives that we have is to look for these people, and we look which is the best training to see this experience. And we found that the static marine diesel engine is a very good area where we can develop this kind of specialized people. So if you can see here, we make some change in our factories to provide the classroom, some engine where we can make the experience, and to find the appropriate teacher to provide the theoretical and the practical classes for these new people. So in this picture, in this image, you can see the mechanical people training. You can see all the workshop that we create especially for this experience. You can see the classroom that we have for the 12 students, because the maximum number of people that we have in each course was 12 people. We made this number because to be efficient during the practical classes, we look that there is no easy to maintain the attention to all these people at the same time. Which are the problems that we addressed with this experience. So the sector hit with the economical and social situation very hard to the young people and the unemployment of this area. So we look for the help of the regional authorities, how they can support us. They bring us a very good support, as we explain later. Other was through which are the problems that we have in the area about possibilities to get more work for a company. We look that is the three main sector. One is the naval, where we have a shipyard very close to our area, is in Cartagena, Navantia. We have a very good necessities of assembly in different factories and industrial companies. And also we identify a maintenance opportunities for all different industrial sectors that we have in the region. So this is the other problem that we addressed. And finally, we addressed the other problem, which is the develop or internal strategic plan to develop professionals that can afford the future opportunity that we have for today and for tomorrow. And how we develop this opportunity? We have three main fulcrum. One is the governmental regional authorities, was other one the government of Spain, other is the European Union, other is the entity that in the area had the authority to develop the training and the unemployment situation, and other was the foundation that we have for this reason. This work was managed for a consultancy, which name is Senda. Senda is a consultancy company that are mainly dedicated for training people in different sectors, and we work with them, work very closely to get this help from the government. And finally, was for company, Mechanical Bolea. Mechanical Bolea was very important because we put some investment in the classroom, in the workshop, in the engine, in the tooling, and we made this investment just thinking in this opportunity for the future, starting in the first, let's say, edition of the course. And how the objective was reached. The objective of the training, sorry, I am a little cloud. So the training was reached after theoretical and practical classes. The 100% of the employment or all these people were reached at the first edition. Because also we have 120 hours of training in our company before get to the market. And all these people that follow the courses have more than 600 hours of work with us internally and externally in different projects of the company. So they provide to us, to them, sorry, a very good opportunity to get employment, not just in our factory, also in another company in the area that reaches the 100% of employment. So the resources that we need was money, of course, as always, and we pay for trainer about 21,000 euros for one course. We pay the rental space of the classroom, the workshop, about 1,500 euros. We pay the material. The material is incorporated the rent of the engine, all the different pieces that we need to repair the engine to train the people. This was around 20,000 euros. So the total cost of this training course was around 55,000 euros. This money was shared by the regional authorities and Mecánicas Bolea, who put part of the money in this edition. The duration of the course was in total 580 hours. That means that we had 320 hours of theoretical classes and 260 hours on practices. With this time, we really reached a very good level of the mechanical people that starting from zero, some of them, on the other hand, some small experience in the business. The evidence of success is that in the first edition, the 100 students that we have in the course got a contract in our own company, so for at least 1 year. So some of these people still are working with us, and some of them already leave to another company that also provide them opportunities. In the second edition, the 50% of students got a contract internally in Mecánicas Bolea, and the other 100 people was getting another contract in different areas in the Cartagena region. So more than 10 companies now has been, let's say, getting advantage for this training course for this experience. At the end, more than 25 students that have now an employment and more capabilities to get work in the future. The potential learning can be transferred to another experience is that each time needs less investment. For example, in the second edition, we don't need to invest in the prepare the classroom, so this avoid to spend more than 10,000 euros. The need of skilled people in assembly, maintenance, and repair is growing. So every year we identify there are more opportunities where get work in this kind of specialties. Interesting experience in the participation of private company is even growing. So we get so many phone calls from other companies to paying attention what is the next edition of the course. The challenge that we found in this experience are mainly four. One is to extend this training to other skills that we need. For example, a special welder, a special laser tracker measuring people. So we identify another areas, but this is difficult to get this kind of courses for this new needed. So the other problem that we found is to get the appropriate professor and practical trainer for every of these topics that we need in the courses. Third one is to motivate the student to follow the courses, because this is a 600 hour of training and they don't get any money for this training. So at the end is to make a back for in this situation for them, and they need to pay attention for so long time. That is hard. And the final one is the bureaucratic difficulties to get the approval, because every time we need to get the financial capability of the regional government, and also that all the different paper from the legal authorities is reached on time to do these courses. If you need further information, because I need to leave now the meeting, please, you can send the question to my email, and I will be delighted to answer you everything. Thank you very much for your attention, and we will be glad to receive your question.
Signor Eladio, muchas gracias. La roba perfecta. Gracias.
Thank you.
Right now, we will invite the representative of Lithuania, Ieva Raugaskiene. She is representative Ecofrisa. She is taking the sales and project manager position. The name of the presentation is how Ecofrisa use crisis to their advantage. Interesting subject. Please.
Hello, everyone. Glad to be here. Can you hear me?
Perfect.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. So my name is Ieva Ragauskienė. I'm export manager at company Ecofrisa, and I'll share with you how our waste crises brought us profits. So initially, I'll tell you about company. Company is one of the biggest grain processor in Eastern Europe, And we process Lithuanian origin groats as buckwheat, wheat, barley, peas since 2003. And our main crop, growth is buckwheat with 10,000 tons processing capacity a year. So producing healthy food with regular grow each year, we gained a lot high hills of waste. So waste, there are two types of waste. Initial comes at time of reception, and it contains stones, grasses, sometimes ashes, and buckwheat hulls. And second type of waste appears during whole processing at each cleaning stage. You see the samples of the slide. So we are quite good at managing processing waste. So it means hulls, we use hulls for heating our factory and administration building. Also, we use hulls to make a steam that we need for our production. We even started using hulls, buckwheat hulls, for mulching plants and gardens. We also export lots of hulls in Europe and Asia for pillows and mattresses. Also, we found demand in some companies for heating or animal feed production. But what to do with the initial waste that we receive at reception type? That it is not suitable for earlier solutions. As we were managing waste quite innovative. At parallel, we acquired solar batteries for our own electricity. We noted that solving waste collected at reception type problem, we would achieve a full circular economy. So problem motivated us double. What other companies do with such product? They usually spread similar impurities on their land plot for ordinary composting. As we do not have space, we thought that we would need much quicker process or solution. So appeared the problem that we have to close our circular economy, and we collaborated with Vytautas Magnus University, Agriculture Academy professors, and they suggested biofermentation experiment. We also collaborate with Kaunas Botanical Garden because they have an experimental machine, experimental biofermentator that we already use for experimental part. Also noted that buckwheat and its hulls contains a whole set of useful ingredients, and the idea to make composted soil at least, or fertilizer in best way in period of 1 month or 6 weeks appeared very attractive for us. Currently, we are at the age of experiment. We received initial results that are very promising, but we still keep experimenting with different dosage. And cost of that experiment would cost us around 50,000 euros. And adoption for business might take up to €500,000, mostly for technical part, for machinery. And both will seek for contribution of European funds. From business side, we are very happy to decrease waste to minimum and to achieve circular economy. For customer and community respect on our sustainability approach. Also, being innovative and create a new product a year is our goal. So having such innovative product and process would open a stage for us to show up. So currently, you see how waste crisis turn into golden opportunity for us. We are very glad collaborating with scientific institution. We are very happy about creating an innovative recycling process and to have it in our company. Also, we seek for sustainable production, and also it opens us an opportunity to have a new service for another crop processing companies. So mostly that's it from my side to share with you our new interesting things happening in Ecofrisa. And any questions I'd gladly answer. And now be healthy, eat healthy, and stay strong.
And the last one who will be present in this session is Davide Bezecchi, the representative of Italy. Davide is head of industrial research and innovation of Un'Industria Reggio Emilia. He prepared the presentation named Engaging with Startups of Intense Corporate Innovation. Davide, forza azzurri, non si fermiamo mai.
Thank you very much. Hello to everybody. And now I will start my presentation. Let me see. Okay.
Yeah, everything
Hello
is okay.
to everybody. Hello to everybody. Another time is a pleasure. Thank you for inviting me. As you said before, I'm the head of industrial research and innovation area, but also, and I'm here for this kind of activity, are project manager of Up Idea Startup Program. I work for Un'Industria Reggio Emilia. Un'Industria Reggio Emilia is the local branch for the Reggio Emilia province, where we are, of the Italian Entrepreneurs Association, called in the Italian language Confindustria. Confindustria is the most important in Italy, Italian Employers Federation, founded more than 100 years, and we represent more than 150 voluntary member companies, and we give services to these companies and also lobby, and we represent their interest. So before start talking about the topic, let me introduce some definitions and some useful definition and some data also. First of all, when we talk about corporate, we want to say more or less 100 corporate associated to our entrepreneurship association, Un'Industria Reggio Emilia. But if you want to improve this description, we can say that most of them are SMEs. That means from 1 to 50 employees, family businesses, traditional company in different sectors, of course, metalworking, fashion, tiles, food, transformation, founded more or less 30, 40, also 50 years ago, and managed by the founder, old founder, without many managers or new business model, new organization. Then, when we talk about startups, we talk about, in Italy, more or less 10,000 innovative startups. In the Emilia-Romagna region, where we are with the Reggio Emilia province, we have more or less 1,000 innovative startups. When we talk about Reggio Emilia, our territory, our province, we talk about 100 innovative startups. This is the phenomenon about startups in innovative startups in Italy. Startups is, as you know, a new company founded by an entrepreneur who want to develop and validate innovative solution, product or services. And between startups and corporates, there are the open innovation methodology. Is a way to innovate, as you know, is an innovative way to innovate because the corporate needs to innovate our business model with outside competencies, particularly made or offered by startups. But not only by startups, also by a university, by clients or suppliers. But in this presentation, I would like to focus on open innovation made by startups. Okay. Now let me talk about our best practice. Let's start from the problem we have faced. The problem, I think, is a problem, is a general European problem, maybe with difference between different European regions, but I think is a problem, a general problem. The problem is local economy is made by a large number of SMEs, Italy particularly, but also I think other country in Europe, and that means, as you know, small dimension is a problem versus global market and the needs to be competitive in global market, but also problems with digital disruption, but also research and development lacknesses, also distance with research academy, or to be not appealing for the young talents, for example, engineers, mechanical, electronic, software developer, that are young talents, and the young talents want to be employees in big companies, maybe not located in our territory. So it's very difficult to do digital transformation or new business model without young talents. Also, traditional business model and a focus on manufacture, good manufacture, but not to be innovative. This is the problem, and the weaknesses of the SME have faced. And if you want to summarize, we can say we have all the risk of loss of competitiveness of the territory, of our territory, and we have to project and to promote a new strategy promoting innovation in SME. Our solution, our best practice is create a local, private and public ecosystem, startup ecosystem, to promote innovation project, open innovation project with made with the corporate, of course, most of them small and medium sized enterprises in our territories. That means a local strategy, as I said, for first of all supporting entrepreneurship, but also promoting open innovation. It is not enough supporting entrepreneurship. It's important to link supporting entrepreneurship with the second phase of this strategy. That means promoting open innovation with corporates existing in your territory. In our territory, for example, there are different organizations, public or private, as you say, as you've seen, dealing with researchers, talents, managers who want to become entrepreneurs. For example, co-working, impact hub, university, school, or corporate. Also, chamber of commerce. And this is the first part of the strategy, supporting entrepreneurship. And what we have done 5 years ago, starting 5 years ago, was first of all linked all together this organization with same strategy, and then we have promoted, we have created another piece of this strategy. That means a project called Up Idea Startup Program for supporting entrepreneurship, but particularly to linked startups with corporates, and so on, promoting open innovation. Up Idea is the project made by the young entrepreneurs of Un'Industria Reggio Emilia 5 years ago, and Up Idea select and support entrepreneurship and startups, but also, as I said, promote open innovation between corporate and startups. Let me show more details about Up Idea. Up Idea is an accelerating 6-month program. We collaborate with the university, with the venture capital, with the business angels, with the incubators, public incubators in the Emilia-Romagna region territory, because this is a project made by us in the Reggio Emilia province, but a regional project. So it is possible keep in touch with the company in all territories of our region of Emilia-Romagna. Particular attention was dedicated to select startups in the sectors more important of our territory. For example, Industry 4.0, but also digitalization, manufacturing, support the digitalization of manufacture sector, and to support innovation needs of our corporate associated. During the program, the acceleration program, the 20 startups selected every year by the project was trained, assisted by mentor as young entrepreneur or business manager, supported and promoted to meet investors and corporates. So if you want to summarize our best practice, we can say startups plus corporates small and mediums, of course, is a win-win strategy for innovate a local economic system. Because it's important understand the success of the strategy is not only promote entrepreneurship in general, but promote the connection between this kind of entrepreneurship or startups to the innovation needs of the corporate of the territory. Because doing that strategy, we can match the strong points of the corporate with the strong points or plus of startups. Corporate, they have organization, of course, market knowledge, financial and productive resources, also manager experience, labs, facility in general. The startups, they have talents, first of all, wow talents, innovative methodology, for example, lean methodology for developing a new product or service. They face technology frontiers and so on. So the benefit we can reach with this project, as you can see, are very, very important for the competitiveness of the territory where we are. For the corporate, meet your talents, learn and connect with new technologies and market trends, develop new products and services with less time and efforts. For the startups, the benefit was meet managers and entrepreneurs, learn how to be an entrepreneur, meet foundings, and better understanding the market needs and the production system. Let me share with you some numbers and KPIs of our best practice. We invested in kind and in money more or less 100,000 euro for here. But also I suggest it's important also the competence of the people who manage these projects, about scouting, mentoring, about lean startup methodology, about business model canvas, and open innovation methodology. We more or less we have 150 applications for every year, and 20 startups selected. They are coming from all regions of Italy, and we promote more or less from 50 to 80 business meeting with between corporate and startups, but also proof of concept, and partnership, formal partnership between startups and corporate. Okay, a concrete example I would share with you. For example, Vimy Fasteners and Pickapart open innovation project for solve a problem of warehouse item identification. Vimy is a global leader for production and distribution of mechanical fasteners for the automotive sector. And Pickapart is a startup selected by us, by our App Idea project. Is a computer vision SaaS platform for automatic identification of item. Thanks to App Idea, they are trying a POC in this moment, and I'm sure the collaboration will go well. Finally, what we can learn and transfer to you, to all of the participants of this meeting. I suggest it's important to have and to share with the local partner, private and public, and a strategy to build an ecosystem of innovation. Second, is important support and promote startup for innovating local corporate. The secret is to understand that startups is new company, but also is a way to innovate the traditional corporate in our territory. Many challenges, of course, for example, share experience between public and private sector. That means a coordination activity, but also define an integrated strategy, but also change and open the culture of the corporate, because our corporates are traditional corporates, and for us it's very difficult to understand and to do business with a new company as a startup, and so on. I will finish with we are convicted is a long journey, is very difficult long journey, matching young talents of the startups with traditional corporate, but we know we are in the right way. Thank you.
Davide, bello pezzo di lavoro, excellent part of job. The agency, the Rzeszow Regional Development Agency, is also providing the same project of startups. That's why I was really afraid to stop you, because you are talking about really important things which we see realizing the project here in Poland also.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Before I would transfer the voice to John, I would like to make a short summary, inform you that yesterday around 100 people were registered on our conference in the morning. In the middle of during the conference, we have almost 70 participants. So it was the same time. It was a great results for my point of view. So the gold palm goes to Gianni, Eladio, Eva, and Davide from the part B. Summary meeting ending and the questions and answer session will provide the John. John, it's your time. You are taking our life in your hands.
Hello, everyone again. I suppose we've struggled with questions this morning, but if anyone who's still on the call has a question for our speakers from the part B of the program, maybe you could just click the icon to raise your hand and we can unmute your microphone to let you ask your questions. So if there's anyone there that fancies having their questions answered, just please raise your hand and I'll ask you in for the questions. So Carol, I think you have a question there. So if you want to unmute.
Yeah, so this question is for David. Just in terms of the new product that they're developing, is there an equity split? Is there a new company set up, or how does that work for the startup and the existing company?
David,
that was for the last speaker. Sorry.
Can you hear us?
Yes. Okay. Thank you for the question. There are many opportunities between the collaboration of startups and corporate, and finally also the called exit is about a corporate bought a startup. But I think it's the final opportunity. There are different opportunity. A corporate maybe could be also a supplier of startup, or startup could be supplier of a corporate, or in this way could be a research and innovation department external of the corporate to develop and to test in the market a new product or a new service, and the corporate could pay for this experiment, for this proof of concept, and then they could establish commercial or different collaboration, type of formal collaboration. At the beginning, there is an informal meeting, an informal keep in touch, and after the first collaboration, they could establish formal partnership, and finally also an economic investing made by the entrepreneur of the corporate into the equity of the startup. Yes.
Very good. Thanks, David. Are there any other questions from anyone else in the audience? Jamie, I think if you can unmute your microphone, you can ask away.
Thanks, John. This question is for Walter of AGS Engineering in Upper Austria. Walter, just from your own perspective and with everything that's happened with COVID-19, have you had to adapt or explore any new upskilling or reskilling strategies for your employees in the area of Industry 4.0 technologies?
Thanks, Jamie.
Yes, we had time to do some, to practice some new technologies. Maybe very important new technology in automation industries is assembling machines with a digital twin function. So we invested in a new software, in 2 new softwares, which then we can simulate and make a digital twin with the robotic cell and the whole machine. Also, in the meantime, during the COVID-19 lockdown, we finalized our own projects. For example, it's the ACS. It's a software for production lines, for manual montage and such more, and save quality management and connected to ERP systems like SAP. So in this time we are very busy ourselves, but only with internal projects. But in my opinion is that we can really use this product in the next months and years, and we will be also, as in the last years, in front of automatic technicians, also with technologies like digital twin and such more. Is this okay? Is this the answer of your question?
Yeah, no, that's very interesting, Walter, especially with the ERP and SAP and collaborative robotics. It's areas that I'm particularly interested in. So thanks very much.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Walter. Is Leva still with us?
Yes, I am. Yes, I am.
So you mentioned about, I suppose, the turning point for Ecofrisa being the crisis with the circular economy, but how has COVID-19 impacted the business, and how have you been resilient through that? Or maybe you could just let us know how you've sort of combated the crisis a little.
The thing is, we are processing food growths for food, and buckwheat was one of the cultures that are commonly used in Lithuania and in Baltic states, in Germany, and we had very high demand for that crop, for growths. So we haven't closed. We had to check our high security for workers to keep safe, not to get sick, or because we had to avoid stopping our production. So we took all well-known food production activities to have a safer production. But I cannot say that we haven't stopped. We haven't shortened our working times. Actually, it was one of the best months, March, for us. So working in food business was quite okay. Talking about the wellness of company, but we haven't felt that crisis so much, only in safety of production of workers.
Okay, perfect. Thank you very much. And Janine, are you still with us?
Yeah.
Janine, obviously you have a lot of experience with the gin companies and good collaborative relationships with them. But how did that? I suppose how did the sort of partnership happen there with the Greater Manchester Business Hub? In terms of, was it you who were bringing the ideas to the companies, or were they coming to you, or was it a mixture of both, or how did that sort of collaboration occur or expand over time?
I think over the gin companies around the hand sanitizer, it was Didsbury Gin who first had that idea. A really, really innovative organisation. Was one of the companies that went on BBC's Dragon's Den and got investment from one of the celebrity dragons. So they were the first organisation to go down that route, and then as a result of that, they worked with the other gin companies across Greater Manchester to be able to do that, and shared that the World Health Organisation had released the recipe, or whatever you wanted to call it, for to be able to do this. There was also issues around shortages around the alcohol, the pumps, the types of bottles. So this was then where we worked with the organisations to make those matches between them, so that they were able to produce.
Very good. That's great. Thanks very much. Are there any other questions, folks, or will we just have a little summary and conclusion? So if there's no more questions, I'd just like to thank all of our presenters for their presentations. Actually, there's one more question coming from Peter now, actually. So Piotr, do you want to turn on your microphone and ask away before we conclude?
Sorry, Jane, I was a little bit late. The question is dedicated to David, because we are, as I said, we are providing almost the same programs. The governments in Europe invest a lot of money in startup projects. And the question to David is what we should change in education programs to teach successfully the young generation that the product sells. This is the most important thing, because the people sometimes forget about this part of activity. For them, new application, new MVP, this is the most important. No, the most important is that the company must make a profit margin. of the cells. That's all. What we should change, David, from your point of view, please?
Is a big question, and for me, I think it's important to develop in every kind of education teams collaborative project made by different scholarship. For example, in our university, there are contamination program between students of engineering or scientific or humanistic economic faculty, and they face during their studies, they face challenge offered by corporates, also our corporates. I think during the university, if there are the possibility to promote a program like this, a contamination program and challenge program, but also startup battle or startup weekend, where young who want to be entrepreneur could understand if they are the intention and the ability to do this kind of very difficult job. To be entrepreneur is not is an attitude with methodology and knowledge you can learn, but is first of all, I think, a vocation, and I think so. Thank you.
Very good. Thanks a million, David. That's very good. So just as time has gone against us, I'd just like to thank all our presenters for their interventions today and for sharing their good practices. We as a project team and across the partnership, we'll put together news stories on each of the different good practices. Those news stories will be compiled in a good practice newsletter, so don't be afraid to log on to our website and ensure that you sign up for that newsletter, and we can get that to you straight to your inbox. Follow us on social media at foundation_EU on Twitter, and you can keep up to date with all of our latest activities and the different workshops, etc. that'll be happening. This session has been recorded, so that'll be made available via the newsletter and on a news story on our website as well. So finally, I'd just like to say thanks very much to Marek, Peter and Agnieszka for all of their help and support at this event, and I look forward to our next one. So thank you very, very much, everyone, and have a great day.
Thank you. Thank you very much. The same to you.
Thank you. And